Hey everyone, it's Jose Serrano from Jose Serrano Special Vehicles. This is season 2. After episode 70, season 1 is finished. Here in season 2 is episode 1, such as 71. The video about destroying seconds of space and time, go see the videos I haven't posted before. Here is the speedboat tips upside down over the backflip. My car is crashing in my city over the race by barrel rolling several times and injuring the driver. Even the helicopter crash breaks apart and slams to the ground. Also, the vintage dragsters collide each other and slam to the wall. Before I begin this video, like and subscribe to Jose Serrano Special Vehicles. Go see the video on episode 20 to episode 69 that I posted Destroying Second Space and Time. So keep moving, grab some water, and enjoy the show. It's showtime.
So much as a warning, life hangs in the balance. Human endeavor turns to chaos. And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same. Ever. From the far reaches of the globe to the safety of your living room, it's 30 minutes of mind-boggling destruction. In the Persian Gulf, the Sheikh of Qatar barely avoids catastrophe when his raceboat careens violently off course. A seaplane in Alaska crashes while taking off, just feet from an amateur cameraman. Its TV so explosive, you might want to back up from your screen, because things are about to be destroyed in seconds.
Time to ditch the nerves and let the adrenaline occupy your mind.
A powerboat race in the middle of the desert. The Arab Emirate of Qatar is surrounded on 3 sides by the Persian Gulf, offering an ideal location for the 2005 UIM Class 1 World Powerboat Championships. These dual-hull raceboats can hit speeds of up to 170 miles per hour. Each 5-ton vessel is operated by a driver and a throttle man. One navigates and steers, while the other controls the power. It's a fine balancing act, and one of the reasons why at least one offshore powerboat racer is killed every year, making it one of the deadliest sports, not just on the water, but on the planet. Racing in the 96 boat are throttle man Matteo Nicolini and driver Sheikh Hassan.
Sheikh Hassan, with the weight of a nation's expectancy on his shoulders.
It's lap 1.
Go the command from Saeed Hareb, releasing a combined total of 20,000 brutal horsepower into the now customary and frantic drag race from Mark 1. And 96 immediately into dangerously close encounters with 77, who drop back. 96, everything on the line, raising the bar, but that is where it is all gonna end. It's all gone horribly, horribly wrong for the championship leaders. That's a massive, massive crash.
As the Sheikh's boat tries to take the number 2 position, it nearly collides with number 77 from Australia. 77 drops back, disappearing into the massive wash. The Sheikh's boat then moves to overtake the leader, number 55 from Norway, but ends up bumping their hull. And that's all it takes to send the vessel flying. The combined wash created by the Sheik's boat and Boat 55 also causes Australia's 77 boat to go airborne.
And look at that! 77 almost blown over by the power of their wash.
For several seconds, 77 appears to be lost.
In the air, a long time before coming down the right way up. 96, not so lucky.
Rescue teams respond in seconds.
The boat, lying lifeless in the water.
Sheikh Hassan and Mateo race to exit the flooding cockpit.
The crew of 96 emerging safely from their escape hatch.
Mateo walks away uninjured,
And desperate frustration for Sheikh Hassan.
but Sheikh Hassan suffers a neck injury.
Broken and inconsolable. A Qatar team in despair.
Their boat is disqualified as a result of the crash.
Looking in good shape on the outside, but inside he'll be burning.
The Sheikh's injury is minor, and days later, he returns to racing. Despite being involved in this crash
Dangerously close encounters with 77.
and almost blowing over, the 77 boat from Australia goes on to take first
That
place.
is where it is all gonna end. It's all gone horribly, horribly wrong for the championship leaders.
July 5th, 2007.
Estoy grabando, calmado.
Two separate explosions at the same time rock a natural gas pipeline in the Mexican state of Guanajuato. The blasts are not accidents, but deliberate acts of destruction. A terrorist group calling itself the Popular Revolutionary Army, or EPR, claim responsibility. Their pledge? To punish wealthy elitists and government officials for keeping much of Mexico in poverty. Tactics include bombing banks, retail stores, and, as in this case, pipelines. In the town of Salamanca, the EPR bomb a section of an 8,700-mile-long natural gas pipeline. The pipeline is owned by Pemex, Mexico's state-owned oil company. Emergency crews arrive on the scene, but the vapor-fueled flames cannot be put out with water. All fire crews can do is wait for a distant valve to be shut off and for the remaining gas in the line to burn itself out. 30 miles away in the city of Celaya, another section of the same pipeline is bombed. At this location, authorities are not able to access the gas flow shutoff valve. The result? Giant fireballs ignite and reach nearly 1,000 feet into the sky. The inferno in Celaya flares through the next day. It takes almost 48 hours for the blaze to finally burn itself out. Everything within 100 feet of the blast site is incinerated. No one is injured, but the explosions shut down natural gas delivery to more than 90 manufacturing plants in central Mexico and affect nearly 1,200 companies.
Estoy grabando, calmado.
The result? Millions of dollars in losses. Louisville, Kentucky. Motocross sensation Jeremy Stenberg, who goes by the nickname Twitch, competes in a freestyle motocross final. He nails backflip after backflip, executing each stunt with expert precision. Nearing the end of his routine, Twitch goes for one last backflip. but it turns out to be one backflip too many. Twitch hits the launch ramp going too fast. He realizes he's going to overshoot his landing spot and lets go of the handlebars. He falls 35 feet onto the hard-packed dirt. Twitch is conscious, but he can't move his legs. Both are broken, and the motocross sensation undergoes 5 surgeries. Doctors tell him he'll never ride again. But Twitch not only rides again, he jumps again. And goes on to win numerous titles, including several X-Game gold medals. Twitch continues to ride today, and even competes again at the site of this accident. April 22nd, 2009. A raging fire envelops an industrial building in Villa Martelli, Argentina. Like any mid-sized city, this suburb of Buenos Aires has seen many fires over the years. But firefighters are especially concerned about this one, knowing that the highly flammable chemicals stored inside could explode at any second. The plant is filled with tanks of combustible liquids such as dithylamine, a corrosive chemical used for making resins and dyes. Concerns grow that the fire might quickly spread between the tightly packed buildings. Firefighters douse the inferno as flames shoot through the roof. They're careful to keep a safe distance. Fearful more chemical tanks will ignite. The firefighters narrowly escape injury from the explosion. After several hours, it appears the mid-afternoon blaze is finally under control. But there's one final blast. When flames finally do subside, the chemical plant is a total loss. Despite fiery explosions fueled by toxic chemicals, injuries are minimal. The cause of the fire remains in question, but there's no doubt memories of this explosive afternoon will reverberate for years. The 1,500-foot-high Petronas Towers are the second tallest buildings in the world, and the perfect site for the first international base jumping championships. 70 jumpers each take the leap from 73 floors up. One of them is British base jumper Pierre Pascal. Pierre hopes to walk away from his jump a world champion. But he'll be lucky to walk away at all. Jumping from 1,100 feet, Pierre reaches 71 miles per hour, then deploys his chute. His lines are twisted, and his parachute opens backwards, swinging Pierre around and slamming him into the 33rd floor of the building. Pierre manages to recover. He descends towards the landing spot, his crew unaware of his injuries. On landing, event officials move in to check on his condition. To everyone's surprise, Pierre suffers only minor injuries. After landing, Pierre is not only done for the day, he's done for good. After this jump, he decides to retire from base jumping. Fans packed the stands at the Famoso Raceway in Bakersfield, California for the 2009 March meet. It's a qualifying run. In the red, white, and blue dragster is veteran racer Dan Horan. After a 5-year absence, he's coming out of retirement for today's event. His opponent in the silver car is Mike Chrisman, driving in his first professional Nostalgia Top Fuel race. Drivers quickly approach 200 miles per hour. At half track, Dan collides with his opponent at 190 miles per hour. The impact sends both cars slamming into opposing concrete barriers. Dan is knocked unconscious. With his foot still on the gas, he accelerates to 220 miles per hour. His left rear tire flies off, nearly hitting a photographer and causing the cameraman to run for cover. The impact sends Mike on the right into the right side wall. Through the smoke, he veers across the track and deploys his parachute. Within seconds, rescue crews rush to both men. Mike is bruised but otherwise uninjured. He exits the wreckage under his own power. At the end of the track, Dan is unconscious for 5 minutes. He suffers broken ribs, a fractured vertebrae, and a concussion. Mike is currently rebuilding his car. As for Dan, this crash convinces him to hang up his racing gloves for good. Alaska's Lake Hood Seaplane Base is the busiest of its kind, handling over 190 flights a day. Amateur videographer Dustin Kohler is shooting takeoffs and landings. Dustin positions himself on the edge of the bank, in the path of the plane, unaware of the danger that he's put himself in. Upon takeoff, the pilot pulls up too soon, causing the back end of the plane's pontoons to drag too deeply in the water and slowing acceleration. The pilot states that he feels a sudden gust of wind. He tries to compensate by quickly turning right. The cameraman ducks only inches away from the wing. The plane, with the pilot's entire family on board, nosedives into the dirt. The aircraft suffers major damage to the wings, fuselage, floats, propeller, and motor. Luckily, everyone on board is able to walk away uninjured. October 2002. The west coast of Mexico braces itself for Hurricane Kenna, the strongest storm to hit the country in decades. Kenna makes landfall as a Category 4 storm, with winds reaching 140 miles per hour. In the resort town of Puerto Vallarta, a hotel is pounded by a storm surge nearly 10 feet above normal tide levels. Outside, some cling to whatever they can to avoid being swept away. 60 miles north, TV reporter Jeff Mackley enters the small town of Villa Hidalgo. He sets up his camera along some closed storefronts. The 140-mile-per-hour winds rip away pieces of the building's roof.
Whoa! Extremely dangerous situation here.
Mackley continues to shoot, unaware that a section of the building's third floor is growing weaker by the second. Mackley is nearly crushed by falling debris. He moves to what he believes is a safer location. After the last close call, Mackley seeks refuge in his car.
It's pretty wild out here. I dare not leave the car in case I get killed. Hopefully the eye will show up shortly and give me a few minutes to get the hell out of here.
The hurricane moves inland and eventually loses strength. 4 deaths and more than 100 injuries are reported. Mackley considers himself lucky not to be a part of those statistics.
As you can see, it's really the only clear spot.
Total damages from Hurricane Kenna are estimated at $50 million. I'm Ron Pitts. We'll see you next time on Destroyed in Seconds.
It is all gonna end. It's all gone horribly, horribly wrong.
So much as a warning, life hangs in the balance. Human endeavor turns to chaos. And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same. Ever. Destruction never sleeps, and neither do we, as we continue to bring you some of the most intense footage ever captured. In Australia, a gas explosion so powerful it creates a fireball more than 650 feet in diameter. In Tornado Alley, USA, a massive twister bears down on a farm, then rips it to shreds. Think you've seen it all? Well, think again, as things get destroyed in seconds. Emergency crews respond to a fire at a storage facility for liquefied petroleum gas, also known as LPG. LPG is a mixture of propane and butane, both highly volatile chemicals. The compound is stored on the grounds in massive pressurized tanks. One of the tanks springs a leak and catches on fire. Now the intense heat from the flames threatens to turn it and several neighboring tanks into giant bombs. Authorities believe that the resulting blast could carve out a half-mile wide crater, obliterating nearby homes.
All signals are evacuating the area now. They've got the alert in any minute.
The nearby Sydney Airport is shut down.
Sydney Airport closed to all operations due gas fire in vicinity.
An amateur cameraman trains his lens on the blaze, completely unprepared for what happens next. Inside the tanks, temperatures reach 469 degrees Fahrenheit, causing the liquefied petroleum gas to boil. As the boiling liquid turns to gas and expands, the cylinder's 6-inch thick steel walls rupture, setting off a blebby. The blebby creates a fireball more than 650 feet in diameter. It billows more than a half-mile into the air. In an attempt to prevent more explosions, a firefighter walks into the heart of the inferno and opens pressure release valves on the tanks. By releasing the pressure, the tanks stay intact, and firefighters are finally able to get the upper hand. By daybreak, the fire is contained. 3 people are injured. A large swath of the plant is now a mass of twisted metal. One of the tanks that exploded is hurled nearly 1,000 feet. Investigators are never able to determine what caused the gas leak or how it ignited. Damages from the fire and explosion exceed $10 million. A day of extreme weather in Tornado Alley, USA, has professional storm chasers scrambling.
I love Kansas!
Reed Timmer and his group are tracking super low pressure storm cells as they roll across the western part of the state. Nearing a strong storm cell, they encounter a barrage of hail.
You guys having a good time?
About 1 mile east of Calvesta, Kansas, Reed Timmer and his crew witness a tornado as it touches down.
Tornado on the ground. I'd say probably a tenth to a quarter mile wide. Best tornado of the year, guys.
By far.
Strong tornado. We got to get there. Let's get in front of it. We might be able to pull right up to it, guys.
Reed tries to get closer, but roads covered in icy hail slow him down.
All right, you truck, let's go, fool. I can't pass because there's so much ice.
But a few miles away, John Halen captures the same tornado from a different vantage point.
Gotta keep an eye on those houses over there.
A ranch stands directly in the twister's path.
Oh, that's not good.
Inside the house, a woman takes cover as the tornado moves in with winds of roughly 115 miles per hour.
Oh, that's not good. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's not good.
The ranch's two-story outbuilding is ripped apart, sending the structure's roof and walls flying through the air. A moment later, the roof on the main house is jolted into the sky.
Oh my gosh, I hope they're okay.
After a few minutes, the tornado continues on its path, and John moves in to record the damage.
Stuff everywhere.
All that remains of the outbuilding is the slab it was built on and the harvester it was protecting. The woman in the house is uninjured after taking shelter in the basement. Damages to the property are estimated at $250,000. There's a reason why they're called ultralights. By definition, these small, nimble airplanes can't weigh more than 254 pounds. Ultralights are an affordable way for novice pilots to own their own aircraft. Certified sport pilot Marty Lunsford takes off in his ultralight. On previous flights, Marty experienced minor issues with his engine not reaching full power. But on this day, these minor issues suddenly develop into a major problem. Marty can only brace himself as the plane crashes into a grove of trees, then slams into the ground. The ultralight lands pitched nose first on a patch of grass just off a paved road. Marty suffers a punctured lung and several broken bones, including his pelvis, 2 vertebrae, and rib. When Marty's friends retrieve the plane, they find the fuel valve in the off position, which would prevent fuel from entering the engine. But Marty says the ultralight would not have been able to idle for 10 minutes prior to takeoff if that were the case. The reason for the engine failure remains a mystery. It's the British Powerboat Grand Prix at the Bristol Docks Racecourse. Since the early 1980s, this infamous circuit has claimed the lives of several racers. F1 powerboat racers speed around hairpin turns and narrow corridors as they risk their lives to win on this unforgiving course. June 1992. Racer Guido Cappellini is competing in his brand new 300 horsepower dual-hulled craft. At the start of the race, Guido quickly takes the lead, but not for long. Out of the first turn, Guido hits 110 miles per hour. Suddenly, Guido's boat gets hooked on a small wave. From another angle, we see just how fast Guido is going when he's forced into the wall. A large piece of the boat breaks off and flies into the crowd. Spectators gather at the rail as rescue workers rush to help the fallen driver. A rescue boat arrives on scene. Guido is pulled aboard and examined for neck and back injuries. No one in the crowd is injured by the flying debris, but Guido's brand new $1 million boat is completely destroyed. Guido survives with only minor injuries. He not only returns to racing, he goes on to become a legend. It's the rough and tumble sport of rock crawling. Specially modified four-wheelers crawl up, over, and down the most extreme terrain imaginable. The United Rock Crawling Obstacle Challenge Hill Climb in Portland, Indiana. A rock crawler trying to tackle a steep incline flips over and lands right side up.
Anybody hurt?
Standage makes it to the top of the hill, loses momentum. Then, the right rear tire hits a rock. The 3,000-pound crawler flips and lands on all four tires. Because of a loose harness, Standage's head slams against the steering wheel. He's instantly knocked unconscious, but his foot remains on the gas. The rock crawler races into the crowd, slams into a light tower, careens over another vehicle, barely misses more spectators, and rams into two parked crawlers. Standage immediately regains consciousness. Despite hitting his head, he's not injured. Luckily, neither is anyone in the crowd. Standage's crawler suffers a broken tire rod. As a result of this accident, judges now check every driver before they climb to make sure that their harness is secure. July 12, 2000. A crowd of around 7,000 gathers to watch a military show in honor of Tall Tall Chile's 142nd anniversary. The show's finale highlights amphibious ships accompanied by two helicopters overhead. But before the ceremony ends, disaster strikes. As the aircraft fly along their planned route, the far left helicopter's tail rotor hits a 150-foot radio antenna practically invisible to the pilot. With its tail rotor damaged, the chopper loses stability and plummets to the ground. It hits two homes, then lands on a parked car in the street. Military personnel seal off the crash zone. Luckily, the car and both damaged houses are empty at the time of the crash. The helicopter's pilot and co-pilot suffer only minor injuries. The roughly $1 million Jet Ranger helicopter is completely destroyed. In the blistering California desert, BMX world record holder Adam Strebe and his friends performed jumps for a music video. The highlight calls for Adam to jump over 8 cars and a boat. With his usual jumping bike damaged, Adam decides to use a lighter racing model. A decision that he'll soon regret. Adam bails out midair when he realizes he's going to overshoot the landing ramp. He lands feet first from 30 feet up and loses both shoes on impact. 2 factors contribute to the crash. A tailwind kicks in just before Adam takes off. And, due to damage, Adam isn't riding his usual jumping bike, but a much lighter racing model.
I'm good. My ankle's screwed, though.
In addition to spraining his ankle, Adam suffers 1 fracture to his leg and 8 more along his spine. He undergoes several surgeries and makes a full recovery. Adam's $800 bike is totaled, but this crash doesn't deter him. He later returns to the sport he loves. Road Atlanta, Northeast Georgia. The dip is one of the most notorious turns in all of auto racing. Since the 1970s, hundreds of Formula One stock and Indy cars have fallen victim to the perilous turn number 10. Drivers come out of a sharp left turn over the crest of a hill, then must maneuver quickly right at speeds topping 150 miles per hour. Centrifugal force shifts weight displacement to the car's left side. The car's right tires lift up, leading to a loss of traction and sending many unwitting drivers out of control. Here, car 11 spins out and gets hit by car number 4, which immediately catches on fire when the gas tank erupts. Both men walk away uninjured. But few crashes are as violent as this one. Veteran racer Randy Canfield comes out of the turn. He loses control, flipping his convertible 8 times. With each flip, his arms flail. Rescue crews rush to his aid. They secure Randy to a backboard and extract him from his car. Randy manages to survive the wreck with no injuries. In 1996, a new owner redesigned the course. The dip is replaced with a chicane, a series of turns designed to help slow cars down, resulting in fewer crashes and injuries at Road Atlanta. I'm Ron Pitts. We'll see you next time on Destroyed in Seconds.
Alright, now is the space and time before ending this video. That was intense. The rest of you want to watch Destroying Seconds and Space and Time videos, please watch this video. Or go see any Destroying Seconds on YouTube. Check it out. Thanks for watching. Good night. We'll see you next time. Anyway, before I end this video, please watch Season 1 of Jose's Run Special Vehicles that are already posted on 71s. I need to post 30 more before 2023. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.